Which celebrity do you irrationally hate? My girlfriend's mother hates Ed Sheeran for no other reason than she thinks he would smell like shit. She gags at the sight of him. Ed at grammar. Amelia Bedelia. God, I hate her glassy-eyed face so fucking much I just wanna mash it into a running waffle maker and be like, ha, isn't that ironic? Grab her by her vacant fucking head, throw her out of a 747, say hey, why didn't you shoot yourself when you had the chance, get it? All political commentators, it's all the same. It's either Orange Man racist or Grandpa Joe has dementia. You aren't funny, you aren't witty, it's the most surface level comedy you could possibly do. I'm gonna be downvoted to hell. Please, this is just my opinion. Elon Musk. I hate him because first of all he always tweets random stuff which fans flames and makes aspects of the economy fall. Example, recently he tweeted saying he thought cryptocurrencies were pointless, causing the value of major currencies to fall. This is my opinion. Rachel Hollis, she's self-righteous and the amount of quotes and work she produces is plagiarized. She sucks. I was recommended to read her book Girl, Wash Your Face by a friend and I couldn't even get through the first 2 chapters. It was too cringy and full of humble brags. He's not a massive celebrity, but David Goggins rubs me the wrong way. He's very disingenuous in his story of how he went from obesity to Navy SEAL. He leaves out that he was a phenomenal athlete. He leaves out that he had an outstanding career in the Air Force as a TAC, Special Operations job. He was also a terrible SEAL that intentionally dodged dangerous deployments. The exact opposite of what most people sign the contract for. Don't get me wrong, his willpower is outstanding and commendable. I just think he uses his time in the teams as a marketing gimmick for it, and it should be the other way around. As someone who lost a tremendous amount of weight to get a shot at the SEAL pipeline, dudes like him have my utmost respect for graduating Bud S. I just can't get past the whole officer uniform with the trident on the front of his book. I'm going enlisted, so maybe I shouldn't be talking, but I don't have any doubts a lot of the guys in the teams now have the same attitude. Jimmy Kimmel. I really find him so incredibly bland, devoid of personality or natural organic humor. He always appears to me stiff and uncomfortable with the same polished smile stuck to his face, compared to say Conan or Graham Norton, who are unpredictable, very funny, engaging, etc. etc. I've always felt uncomfortable watching his segments. Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal. I don't know what it is about those two, but they have punchable faces to me. Most of the movies they are in are great, and they act well in them. But I can't help the fact that I want to punch them in the face. Christopher Walken. Maybe not hate, though, that's a strong word reserved for Mitch McConnell. I can't explain it. I don't think I've seen anything bad about him. I can't think of any movies he's in that I hated. I just cannot stand that dude, and listening to him talk makes me irritated. Jeremy Renner. No good reason why, but ever since Hurt Locker I've intensely disliked him, mainly just because of his punchable face. It sucks because I love the MCU and was a born fan from the books before the movies were even made. I used to like James Franco, but then I think he started taking himself too seriously. Please keep your hands off the rights to 19th/20th century American novel classics. You will not do a good job and will fucking ruin them with your shitty attempts at making gritty movies. Also, dude's also just a giant piece of shit. Predator. Kylie Jenner. How she talks about how she made all her money by herself as an entrepreneur, like if she didn't get startup money from her rich sister. Ed Sheeran. a lot of his music is shockingly bland for the level of popularity he has, and the fact that he still seems keen to pass himself off as a normal guy despite having a £200 million net worth and a swimming pool that he tried to pass off as a wildlife sanctuary. Apparently, he also claimed that his No 6 Collaborations project album got successful with zero promo. Newsflash: announcing a release date and bringing out singles and music videos is promo. Sia has been antagonistic to the autistic community, and her movie about an autistic girl is entirely uninformed and problematic generally. If her music comes on the radio or there's some article about her, I have to ignore it or change the station, or else I'll just be irrationally angry the rest of the day. She had good music when I didn't know she was an insensitive prick. Most every rapper these days, who cares if we're rapping about sex, drugs, gangs, or money? You are unoriginal and just following the crowd. Try rapping about actual issues. Jerry fucking Seinfeld. I've heard a few bits to back up my opinion over the years with how he handles random people, but it's really his stage demeanor that makes me want to punch him in the face repeatedly. Thomas the Tank Engine. I have no reason whatsoever, but I absolutely fucking hate him. When my ex's kids were staying with us, I refused to allow it on the TV until about an hour before bedtime. I wasn't so horrible that I would put a blanket ban on it, but every time I heard that stupid opening song, I was instantly in a bad mood, so it had to wait until I could occupy myself with dishes or something. Not the specific person, but rather I have the same level of irrational disdain for a lot of big Twitch streamers. People like Mizkif, Pokimane, Ludwig, Hassan, and especially Mplal or whatever his name is, the one who basically just streams him and his girlfriend cooking while they fight. They just all seem like slimy people, and as someone who was in some of the same social circles as that crowd of internet personalities back when I lived in LA, they really are very shitty people off camera. Not assholes, but manipulative and just straight up evil. You hear some shit about these people in these social circles and all you can think to yourself is, good God, there's going to be a #me too on steroids in the future. Kat Dennings, she just annoys me. James Corden, I know he's hated by many, but I feel like I was waving my arms declaring my hate before others noticed he was totally bland and fake. I also hate his faux gayish shtick to appeal to theater nerds and Harry Potter moms. Jim Carrey, I fully acknowledge that my hatred of him is totally 100% irrational. I also loathe him. I hate his stupid face and how he does the same damn rubber face mugshots for every single movie. For whatever reason, from the moment I first saw him in a trailer, I knew that I hated him. There's just something about his face that pisses me off. That's fairly irrational. Here's the totally irrational part. I hate him because he starred in that god-awful movie they made from The Mask. The source material was a gore-fest, darkly humorous psychological horror-type comic. It was harrowing, sometimes mixed with dark humor that underscored the murderous insanity the titular mask brought and the addictive way it lured people to use it. We saw people's minds break because they both feared and needed the mask. Sometimes they needed it for really good reasons, but knew that using it would bring death they couldn't control, and the stress broke them. They turned it into a goofy movie with Jim Carrey's fucking stupid stock facial expressions turned up to 12. And that is totally not his fault. He's just an actor. It was the fault of the producers, the scriptwriters, and the director. But yet, despite knowing that, I'm filled with loathing for him. Oh yeah. And he also helped spread anti-vax lies that are responsible for the deaths of thousands of children. But that's a rational reason to dislike him. Demi Lovato, nothing to do with their career or persona, it's just something about the shape of their mouth that pisses me off. Edit, corrected the pronouns. Thank you for the correction. Due to aforementioned irrational hatred, I definitely don't keep up with the news, but even those I hate deserve to have their identities respected, and to anyone who gets upset when they hear non-binary or neopronouns or some other aspect of another person's identity that they don't understand, keep it to yourself. You don't have to understand in order to be respectful. Jennifer Lawrence. I don't hate her, but I definitely have a hard time watching any movie she is in. I can't help but cringe at her attempts to be considered so relatable because she talks about eating pizza and how she tripped up a flight of stairs. Like, wow, you're just like the rest of us. Not irrational anymore, but for years whenever my mom would see Chrissy Teigen on TV, she would mention how she didn't like her. I would always ask why, because she was so popular, and my mom would say her smile seemed phony. The mom radar is insanely accurate time and time again. I don't know why I ever question it. Amy Adams. Can't stand her, just so blah. I don't really know how to describe it, but she always is so obviously acting in movies to me. She is clearly an actress playing a role, not actually being the role. I just don't get why she keeps showing up in every other movie. Leonardo DiCaprio seems to have a huge double standard about his own carbon footprint while giving eco-friendly speeches. He almost looks like he hates giving interviews and just doesn't want to be there. Christian Bale. Just mentioning him sends me into a mini rage. I have no excuse or explanation. I don't watch his movies, which sucks because people tell me Heath Ledger was amazing as the Joker, and I just can't watch it because Christian fucking Bale is the Batman. Anne Hathaway. She seems so fake. Something about her smile not reaching her eyes. Maybe too much Botox doesn't help. Ella Enchanted. The book was completely full of heart and charming letters, while the movie had a pole dancing heels scene for reasons I couldn't comprehend as a child. Russell Brand. The guy's just annoys the living shit out of me. I thought I was being irrational about it and decided to give him a chance. So, I watched one of his stand-up comedy specials with an open mind, and I didn't laugh once. He is so full of himself and speaks as if his opinions on life should be followed by everyone. Every time I hear him talk, I despise him more. The fact that he was very popular for a period of time absolutely grinds my gears. I also have to point out that this has nothing to do with my crush on Katy Perry. Not sure if they count as celebrities, but any influencers or family vloggers, because 1, they just feel entitled to everything. 2, all they really do is flex. 3, I get it, your life is better than mine, stop rubbing it in. 4, what are the kids gonna do with their lives when they're too old or aren't popular? These parents are ruining their kids' lives. And 5, it takes all value from the family. All of your kids' lives can be seen by any random person with internet, so it becomes content for attention rather than fun family moments. NVM. I'm probably just jealous. James Corden. I'd never even seen any of his stuff before that terrible Keurig commercial. It was only after I began to irrationally hate him for months on end, wanting to jam a pencil into my ears every time Hulu played that damn commercial, that I learned he's apparently a pretty shitty person on top of not being even remotely funny or talented. John Cusack. I've hated him since middle school, 06, all because the girl I had a crush on at the time loved his movies. I don't even talk to anyone from those days anymore, but that hatred for Cusack still remains. I don't think he's a bad guy or anything, but I'll always root against him in his movies. I can't get over a post on Quora, "Don't hate me," of this person that shares her experience encountering the rudeness of Tiffany Hadfish and her friends while working at a restaurant. I don't hate her, but I feel like she's one of celebrities that are waiting to be outed for her behavior. It's also probably not gonna happen, what with the work of their publicists and whatever. Megan Fox. Every guy I was dating was absolutely in love with Megan Fox, and they would talk about how they would fuck her, etc. How pretty and hot she was. I just felt so ugly. I don't even remember how does she look like because I don't want to look at her. But I hate her for existing because I know I am not even 2% that hot. It's not hate. But I have an irrational fear of John Malkovich and Sigourney Weaver. Their eyes and their smile give me a creepy serial killer vibe. It's hard to put my finger on, but I would be terrified to be alone in a room with either of them. Something about their aura tells my reptile brain, run, escape. This being will kill and eat you in no particular order, and my reptile brain has never steered me wrong. Tobey Maguire, what a twat. I bet he cries if his maid buys him the wrong pull-apart cheese. Seriously, take used douche liquid and mix it with flour, bake it in the oven, and that's how you get Tobey Maguire. Keira Knightley, can't help but feel bad for her when she was 16 in Love Actually. But so many potentially decent period pieces have been ruined by her shitty acting and dearth of personality. Emma Watson for a lot of the same reasons, but maybe even more so for that Emma feminist who will not be wearing a corset nonsense. Hugh Jackman, I hate the dude's singing voice. I get that he's worked his entire life blah blah blah. He still fucking sucks at singing. I appreciate his work ethic and recognize his talent as an actor and dancer, but I cannot get over how nasal and strained his voice sounds, especially in live performances. I also hate Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm convinced he wrote his own musicals because he couldn't get cast in anything. I fucking hate the sound of his voice, but it's his brand now. It sucks. He sounds like he's not in tune even when he is, and his lyrics are entirely too wordy. I don't mean they're too smart, I mean they don't fit the fucking music. Cardi B and Amber Heard. I hate Cardi B because she used to drug, rob, and rape men, and when that was found out, almost everyone was like she's so empowered. And Amber Heard because of what that piece of shit did to Johnny Depp. She abused him, got his career ruined, even he was the victim, still has a career, and apparently pooped on the bed because it was easier than walking to the bathroom. Olivia Rodrigo. Every teenage girl I know is obsessed with her music, and it pisses me off. She's so bothered over this breakup that literally nobody on the whole fucking planet cares about that. She wrote a whole album about it, 1 or 2 songs about a breakup. I get it, maybe songwriting is your way of coping, but a whole fucking album? Get over it. Jesus, what a baby. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This guy just seems so dim, constantly going on how he's running for president because he's a nice man and being obsessed with being a girl dad or whatever. He's so beloved, but I just see something off about him. There's something that's like worst of America about him. Anna Kendrick. It's irrational hatred but still has reasoning. I loved Anne Hathaway as a kid, Ella Enchanted and The Princess Diaries, but I got her mixed up with an Anne Kendrick all the time, and so when I heard Anna Kendrick was in a movie I wanted to see it, only to be disappointed when it wasn't Anne Hathaway like I thought. So now when I see her I just get angry and disappointed. Hate is a strong word. I don't usually hate people unless they have done something bad to me personally. Back to the question. I dislike James Corden. I don't find him funny and his attitude off the cameras is really shitty. Before I got sober, I was really into psychedelics. I would take some acid and play video games, listen to music, watch a movie, etc. Well, I took a few hits and started watching Observe and Report with Seth Rogen. It got to a part where it zooms in on his face and for some reason I became obsessed with how ugly he was. His face was melted and had spots all over it, and he was sweaty. I couldn't stop thinking about Seth Rogen's ugliness that it ended up sending me into the first bad trip I ever had. I lost my mind and started feeling like I was dying. I can't watch Seth Rogen movies much anymore without being reminded that his ugliness sent me into a bad trip. In fact, I stopped taking psychedelics for the most part after this. And I was never really able to take them again without thinking of that time. For some reason Elle Fanning irks me. It's like, I look at her and there's something that annoys me. Maybe she's even a nice person or a good actress, but her face just annoys me because of reasons.